Well, hey, good day to you. This is Todd. I am a regular dude walking in the Word. Hey, it is Christmas week. This week, we're going Monday through Sunday of this week. We're going to be celebrating Christmas, and I'm going to be going through the Christmas story through the book of Matthew. Okay, so it's each Matthew, Mark, and Luke talk about Christmas. John kind of skips over Christmas, the birth of Christ. I'm going to use Christmas and birth of Christ interchangeably. And each of those have different perspectives on the birth of Christ and point out different things. So in the past couple years, we went through Luke and we went through Mark also. This week, we're going to be looking at Matthew. Matthew was written to the Jewish people. So you're going to find things that when Matthew is writing this book, it's written to the Jewish audience, and so he's going to point out some things there, like prophecies that are fulfilled and so forth, and things like that. So we're taking a break from Philippians. We're still in prison. I'm still in prison, but we got the Christmas stockings hung up to get ready for Christmas. So hopefully, maybe I can get out for Christmas. I have 2 stockings up. You know why? Is because Paul was in prison, but he wasn't alone. Remember, we talked about a couple episodes ago, Epaphroditus was also there with him, and he was like the pastor, one of the pastors in Philippi, and he was sent there to help Paul with his needs, really. And so that's why we have 2 stockings up here. So today we're going to be looking at Matthew chapter 1, verses 1 through 17. And it's entitled The Crazy Relatives of Jesus. When we get together for the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, sometimes you're with relatives and that you normally aren't with, and sometimes crazy things happen. I was talking to a friend a while back here, and they said, "Oh yeah, we go to this amusement park, at Thanksgiving time, and that way we have a good time, but we avoid the craziness of the relatives. So sometimes crazy things happen with the relatives during the holidays, and so that was their way of dealing with that. Today, I'm going to point out the crazy relatives of Jesus. And you're thinking to yourself, Jesus was perfect. He didn't have any crazy relatives. Yeah, look back at the genealogy, and you're going to see some things as we go through there today. And normally, I'm not reading genealogies, but here today I am, because it points to the ancestors of Jesus. And there's 3 names I want you to pay close attention to, because they kind of stick out like a sore thumb here. All right, and keep in mind when the genealogies, it's usually just men in there, because that was like who was prominent at that time, and women weren't considered of high value, you might say. And so usually you didn't have women in the genealogies, but if you see women in the genealogy today, is something to pay attention to. So Matthew chapter 1, verses 1 through 17 says this. This is the genealogy of Jesus, the Messiah, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Jesus came from David and Abraham, from that whole line. Abraham was the father to Isaac. Isaac was the father of Jacob. Jacob the father of Judah, and Judah and his brothers. Judah, the father of Perez, and Zerah, whose the mother was Tamar. We come to a name here that shouldn't be in here, because she's a woman, and the mother of Tamar was the mother. Mother was Tamar. Perez was the father of Hezron. Hezron the father of Ram. Ram the father of Amminadab. Amminadab the father of Nahashon. Nahashon the father of Salmon. Salmon the father of Boaz, whose mother was Rahab. Here's another name. Okay, we've come across names so far of 2 women, Tamar and Rahab. Boaz the father of Obed, whose mother was Ruth. Okay, we've come to the 3rd name here, Ruth. We've had 3 names here, women, Tamar, Rahab, and Ruth, in this whole genealogy. Obed the father of Jesse, and Jesse the father of King David. David was the father of Solomon, whose mother had been Uriah's wife. Okay, now we have Uriah's wife in here too. That's the fourth one here. Solomon, the father of Rehoboam, Rehoboam, the father of Abijah, Abijah, the father of Asa, Asa, the father of Jehoshaphat, Jehoshaphat, the father of Jeroboam, Jehoram, the father of Uzziah, Uzziah, the father of Jotham, Jotham, the father of Ahaz, Ahaz, the father of Hezekiah, Hezekiah, the father of Manasseh, Manasseh, the father of Ammon, Ammon, the father of Josiah, and Josiah, the father of Jeconiah, and his brothers at the time of the exile of Babylon. Okay, so that takes us all the way up to the exile in Babylon. However, the genealogy does not end there, because you have the time period from the exile in Babylon all the way up to when Jesus was born. After the exile to Babylon, Jeconiah was the father of Shealtiel, Shealtiel the father of Zerubbabel, Zerubbabel the father of Abihud, Abihud the father of Eliakim, Eliakim the father of Azor, Azor the father of Zadok, Zadok the father of Akim, Akim the father of Ehud, Ehud the father of Eleazar, Eleazar the father of Matan, Matan the father of Jacob, and Jacob the father of Joseph. Here we go. The husband of Mary, fifth woman listed here, and Mary, who was the mother of Jesus, who is called the Messiah. There were 14 generations in all from Abraham to David, and 14 from David to exile in Babylon, and 14 from the exile to Messiah. Okay? What I wanted to point out today is you think that normally the genealogy just lists the men. When it listed these women weren't upright saints. Okay? It starts off with Tamar. Tamar, if I won't go into real detail in all these stories because our time is limited today, but Tamar actually had a child with her husband's father. Okay, and that's a whole mixed up story, crazy story, where she dresses up like a prostitute and all kinds of stuff like that. But she's in the line of Jesus. Okay, and she wasn't even a Jewish person, you would say. Okay, so you have that crazy story that happens. And I'd encourage you, go back and look in Genesis about the story of Tamar. Then you have Rahab. Okay, Rahab was, another woman that during the siege on a city, she was a foreigner, but she became a God follower and took in the spies. Okay, and so she was also a foreigner brought into the whole thing, and so she wasn't from Jewish descent, but she was also brought in. And then you have Ruth. Okay, Ruth was from the tribe, well, not tribe, but she was a Moabitess. Okay, not Jewish at all. And she was brought in and married Boaz. And the whole book of Ruth tells about her story. Okay. And then it says David was the father of Solomon. And Solomon had been, whose mother was Uriah's wife. That's a whole story there with David and dealing with Uriah's wife. And notice they don't name her here. It's just Uriah's wife. So, anyway, that whole thing shows you the crazy relatives that happened, and it was part of Jesus's line. These women were tied in with the line of Jesus, and none of them had Jewish background, but they were all brought in, kind of grafted in, you might say. So you looking back, you might have relatives that aren't necessarily godly, but hopefully you can reach them for Jesus. But and you look back at your past and it wasn't that great, but hopefully God has changed you for the better. So be encouraged today. Jesus had crazy relatives in his past. You might have crazy relatives in yours, but be encouraged because something great came out of all that. So something great can happen in your life too. Hey, thanks for watching. I'm just a regular dude walking in the Word, and I encourage you to join us all this week as we continue looking at the story of Christmas through the book of Matthew. Lord's blessing. I'll see you then.